Hello everyone, so welcome to the part 2 of our video. In our last video, we're talking about the excretory system, particularly the urinary system, and we made mention of the kidney, the nephron, that is the functional unit of the kidney, and the ureter. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the urinary bladder and of course the urethra. Now, let's talk about the urinary bladder. Now, the urinary bladder is a muscular sac that stores urine temporarily and also expels this urine out of the body through the urethra. Now we talk about the shape of the urinary bladder. So the urinary bladder is roughly oval in shape, and the size of the urinary bladder, it varies in size due to the accumulation of urine. Now let's talk about the location of the urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is located in the pelvis. It is located in the pelvis, and it also opens in the lower end, that's the lower point, and this lower point is called the neck. So it opens in the lower point into the urethra, and that is the point where urine is being expelled from the body. Now that takes us to the gross structure of the urinary bladder. Now in the gross structure of the urinary bladder, that's what we could see. It has four surfaces. So we have the apex, we have the base, we have the superior surface, and we have the inferiolateral surface. Now let's talk about the apex. Now the apex is the anterior surface and it points towards the symphysis pubis. Now we talk about the base. Now the base, as we know, is a posterior surface, and in the male it is adjacent to the rectum. Then in the female it's very close to the vagina. Now that takes us to the superior surface. Now the superior surface lies behind the peritoneum and also connected to the loops of the small intestines. Now we talk about the inferiolateral surface. Now the inferiolateral surface lies on the levator animosus, that's the muscle found in that region, the levator animosus, and also the pelvic floor. So we talk about the microscopic structure of the urinary bladder. That's what we cannot see in our naked eyes. It has three layers. So we have the tissue layer, we have the muscular layer, and we have the mucosa. Now we talk about the tissue layer. The tissue layer is composed of loose connective tissue that allows for the passage of blood vessels, and nerves. Now we talk about the next layer, which is the muscular layer. Now the muscular layer is composed of a smooth muscle fiber called the detrusor muscle. Now this detrusor muscle plays a very vital role during maturation, and I'm going to talk about that in my next video when I'm talking about maturation and formation of urine. Now the next layer is the mucosa. Of course, this mucosa is the inner layer and is being lined with transitional epithelium. Now that takes us to the organs associated with the bladder. Now anteriorly, like we say, is associated with the symphysis pubis. Now posteriorly, in male, is associated with the rectum. Then in female, is associated with the vagina. Superiorly is the small intestine. Now let's talk about the blood supply. Now the arterial blood supply is through the internal iliac artery, and now the venous drainage in male is the vesicular venous plexus. Then in female is the vaginal venous plexus. Now of course we talk about the nerve supply, that is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. That takes us to the last part of the excretory system, that's basically the urinary system, and which is the urethra. Now let's talk about the urethra. We are not going to really say much about it. All we just know is that it's a muscular canal that extends from the lowest point, that's the neck of the bladder, to the exterior. So it plays a very major role during maturation. It allows for the passage and the expulsion of urine from the urinary bladder. Of course, when we say canal has to do with a passage that allows a passage of materials. Now let's talk about the before we go to the microscopic structure, we talk about the length. Now in female, it's about 3 to 4 cm long in female. Then in the male, of course, because of their anatomy, it's about 18 cm long in male. Now for the microscopic structure of the ureter, it has three tissue layers. We have the muscular layer, we have the submucosa, and we have the mucosa. Now for the muscular layer, it continues from the bladder, and remember we said that the bladder has smooth muscle fibers called the detrusor. It plays a major role in maturation, so we are going to talk about that during maturation. Now this detrusor continues from the bladder into the urethra, so that is the muscle layer of the urethra. Now we talk about the mucosa. Now the mucosa obviously continues from the bladder, and at the lowest point of the mucosa is not lined with the transitional epithelium we said in the bladder, but in the lowest point is lined with a stratified squamous epithelium. Now we talk about the submucosa, that is the innermost layer. So this innermost layer has a spongy layer, and it allows for the passage of blood vessels and nerves. Now let's talk about the organs associated with the urethra. So obviously superiorly, That's the bladder. Now let's talk about the blood supply. The same blood supply going to the urinary bladder, it's what that is also supplying the urethra. Now arterial blood supply is through the internal iliac artery. Then the venous drainage for male is the vesicular venous plexus. Then for female is the vaginal venous plexus. And for nerve supply, obviously, is always parasympathetic and sympathetic. So thank you very much for watching. So that takes us to the end of the urinary system in this excretory system. So please do well to like, share, and follow. It's your cute nurse, student nurse, Victory Solomon. So in my next video, we are going to be talking about micturition and also the formation of urine, which has three phases. That's the glomerular filtration, tubular secretion, tubular reabsorption. All those, we are going to be talking about that in our next video. So thank you very much, and please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate, and I'm going to be dropping more educational videos like this. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next video.